Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Chris Legaspi, and today we are going to continue the new series on color, Every Frame a Painting. And this is a series where we analyze and appreciate, admire, and study beautiful cinematography from films, movies, and TV shows. In this episode, we're going to look at the 2016 film La La Land. La La Land won many, many awards, including Best Cinematography and Best Production Design, as well as being nominated for Best Picture. But it has gorgeous, gorgeous lighting, gorgeous photography, obviously. And what I love most is the beautiful and bold and vibrant colors. So it's going to be really great for us to really flex and improve our color muscles and our color skills. And before we begin, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my free Insiders Club. Insiders Club members get first access to these weekly live streams, and you also get access to other live events, and you get discounts on courses and programs, along with access to free lessons and other free content available only to subscribers. So all you have to do is go to www.drawwithchris.com, and there you can enter your email and you'll be good to go. And before we begin, comment below. Where are you located? Where are you watching from? And what time is it for you? I am currently in Thailand and it's Saturday morning for me. So thank you for being here wherever you are. Today's episode, we're going to analyze and study La La Land. La La Land came out in 2012, directed by Damien Chazelle. And the cinematographer, director of photography is Linus Sandgren. And some of his other credits include No Time to Die and American Hustle. So I'm not too familiar with his work, but I did recently see No Time to Die, and that one has gorgeous photography as well. But I would say La La Land is on a whole other level. One of the things that I enjoy about La La Land, besides the wonderful photography and lighting, is just the bold use of colors. Like, for example, you can see in this frame, all the girls are dressed in different colors and really bold, saturated colors. And that's, in a lot of ways, it's very difficult to manage. But the artists here were able to handle it very, very well and also use color as a storytelling element. Obviously, every great artist, great photographer, great filmmaker will be able to use colors to play with and to help drive the story. And that's really a big part of this film and probably why it won so many awards. It's nominated for so many awards and recognized. And, personally, this as a movie, it is a musical. So if you do want to watch it, be warned. If you haven't seen it, be warned. It is a musical. It's a love story. It's a bit of a girly, romancy love story. So it's definitely not my kind of thing. But after hearing, so much praise about the cinematography and seeing some of the shots, I definitely had to check the film out. And, the way that the director and all the artists craft the visuals really help to carry the story along, help keep me engaged, even though, love stories aren't my things, musicals aren't my things, but it's definitely got gorgeous visuals. It's going to be great for us to really start to stretch and flex and practice our color muscles, because looking at saturated color is a skill. So this, I would say, this is a bit of an advanced film to look at if you're brand new to color, but it's definitely still many frames that have also simple color as well. So before we get to the demo, I just wanted to share some pro tips. In the first few videos in this series, I talked more instructional content, more techniques and processes. So if you're brand new and you want more instructional side on how to do color studies and you want to see more of my process in depth, definitely review those earlier videos. Here, I just want to share a couple pro tips that might make the process easier for you. The first is, I always recommend, especially if you're new or just starting out, to start with easy frames and compositions. So these are frames, but when I say easy, I mean the compositions are simple. There's less color and there's less saturated color. And also typically monochrome, monochrome meaning only one color or maybe mostly one color. So one color dominant. So these would be great to start out with. As you progress, obviously, you want to then start to choose more and more difficult and complex compositions and more intense colors. So here we have an example from our film here, and I ranked them from easy to hard, bottom to top. So if we look at the bottom, this is a bit of an easy frame. It does have a character, but it's not like a full frontal face, and he's kind of partially in shadow. And color-wise, it's mostly brown. It's a dominant brown. He is wearing a bit of blue, but it's not a really saturated blue. It's kind of dark and subdued. So it's mostly brown, mostly browns and oranges, and not too much color, not too intense. Then in the second frame, I would consider this a medium. So this one has a full frontal face. So that itself makes it complex drawing wise. But color wise, it has a couple colors to consider. I mean, clearly you can see her bright, bright red jacket. You can see that super saturated green in the background. So those right away can make it a bit difficult if you're new to looking at intense colors. And obviously also the subtle pinks and oranges in her face and hair. And the blues in her shirt add a little bit more color complexity. And finally, the top image, I would consider this very difficult. This one is, this one's got three characters, half of a figures, has each character's wearing a unique saturated color. Even the background has multiple colors. So this is a tough one. This is complex. This one will take a while, especially if you're doing, one of those like one-to-one copies where you're trying to do a true copy of a frame. Again, the major thing to remember is if you're brand new, make life easy on yourself. Start with easy compositions, and simple color schemes. And before we jump into the demo, I also want to just quickly review the questions to ask. So this is my thought process when I do a color study, or really when I look at any work of art, when I appreciate a work of art and I analyze it, I try to break it down, try to learn from it. So for color studies, these are some really helpful questions to ask. First is, what is the dominant color? Second, what is the lightest, darkest color? Third, what is the most saturated color? And fourth, what are the color gradations? So whenever you look at frame, you want to kind of take a moment first to soak it all in, just to appreciate it, soak in all the colors and the composition. And then, the thing that I want to know is, what is the frame mostly color-wise? What color is mostly in the frame? A lot of times, if you look at movie frames, they tend to have a general color scheme throughout, and even good paintings and traditional artworks as well. So ask yourself, what is the dominant color? And most of the time, the frame or the image you're looking at will have one dominant color that tends to take up most of the frame. The next thing you want to address is the value. So what is the lightest and darkest color? So take a moment to see, what is the brightest color? What color is like really bright, or maybe even close to white? Like in this example here, this frame is very bright, had a lot of bright, creamy kind of colors. And then you want to ask, what is the darkest color? So color-wise, this is more than just black. Things like dark reds, dark blues, dark purples, dark browns can become very dark, especially, in a frame, in the overall context of a color and composition. And then you want to ask, what is the most saturated color? So typically this tends to be quite obvious. A lot of times you'll notice it. Typically, a good artist will reserve saturation for a key area. It's kind of like a spice in a food. You put too much, it becomes a little too overpowering. A lot of times, saturation will be used intelligently, so you want to be able to look for it in a frame relative to other colors around it. What is the most saturated, the richest, most intense color? And finally, what are the color gradients? So these are the movements. How does a color shift from blue to red, or how does color shift from a dark olive green to maybe more of a yellow green? For example, in this frame, you can see subtle gradation in the wall behind the characters. Gradations do come in value. Gradations obviously are important, but also color gradations as well are important to start to train your eye to see. Okay, I'm going to start. What I'm going to do is, remember the first question, what is dominant color? So I'm just going to make my best guess. Well, it's 60-40, so I'm just going to make a guess at a bright desaturated violet. So that is clearly not it. It's too red right now. Got to bring it back to blue. Okay, so that's pretty close. I'm looking at this wall, sort of. Okay, that's pretty close. What I need is the I need the cream. So cream is a desaturated brown, bright desaturated orange. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that looks pretty good. It's a little too saturated. Okay, see, now it looks good. Now these colors together make sense. So that's too saturated. It's a little too bright. Gonna turn down the brightness a little bit. And let's see, play with the hue. Yeah, a bit more towards yellow and a bit darker. Okay, that feels pretty good. Now I'm going to block in that violet. I'm going to make a guess. Drop it in. Nope. Should it be darker? More saturated? Okay, but it's also too red. I could give it a little bit of blue. Oh, that's pretty close. Make it darker. Yes. That's pretty damn close. What I'm going to do now is add a gradation. There's a gradation that happens right here, and it's a bit of a pink. It's a bit of a red. Before it's the same red as this door. So what I'm going to do is make the door first. And I'm going to do my best not to make a complex drawing. Well, let me make the wall. Okay, I'm going to make the wall. First, I'm going to color pick, I guess, just color pick some of that white that I established. Now I'm going to add some gradients to the wall. I'm going to color pick, let's see, that purple that I established. See what that does. Okay, it's looking pretty good. And then up top a little bit. Now within this, I'm going to make a door. And I'm going to use a vector tool. I just need a shape, geometric shape. Okay, so I'm going to change the color to red, obviously. Now there's some gradations and things, but I just want the inside of the door. And okay, so that's about the right value and saturation, but the wrong hue. So let's bring it back. Okay, it's pretty close. Let's see if I can Okay, I think that will work. Gonna get the gradient of purple, the top. And that's 2. Okay, that's pretty close. We're gonna erase that a little bit. And then on this side, on the inside, I'm gonna get a pink. So I'm gonna color pick the pink that I have and make my best guess. Add it first. Okay, it's too bright. Too dark. Yeah, that's pretty close right there. That is pretty close. And then okay. Yeah. I said I wasn't gonna do any detail, so there you go. So, okay, back to color pick. This is what I was setting up for, is this color note right here, which is the door. Yes, that's what I was. There's a subtle kind of pink gradation happening there. I'm going to drop the opacity, make it brighter, make it bluer. Yeah, make it even more subtle. Okay, it just keeps it from getting flat. And there's a vignette happening in the frame. So I'm not too worried about that. Let's see. Okay, so I have the shape of the door or the wall. I just want to quickly get some of that floor there. Just drop the opacity just so I can separate that floor a little bit better. Okay. Okay, so let's see. And then underneath, I'm still looking at the background. There's a bit of a shadow here. So this is the background wall. This is the door object thing. You see, I use a lot of gradient tool. Let's see. Oops. Make sure to clip it. Yep. And then that needs to be warm. Okay. Let's drop the opacity a little bit. Nice. And then I'm going to erase the bottom half with a bit of a soft eraser. See what that goes. Nice. Okay. And then I can drop the opacity a little bit. Sort of erase out a little bit here. Drop the opacity. Still nice. Okay, and it's just a little too dark. It needs more saturation now. Okay, feels pretty close. There's some kind of cools and grays happening on the floor. I want to make sure I get that real quick. Just color pick this purple. It's really interestingly, I don't know why. It's some of that cool on the floor, and there's also a bit of that warmth from the wall at the floor. A lot of it is from there. It's just a nice hint at the floor. It still needs some work, but we're definitely going to move forward. Otherwise, it's going to take forever. And the figures, I'm not even going to mess with figures. I'm just going to put 2, but let me sketch them out first. Let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch him in a, oh no, it's fine. I was going to sketch them both in different colors, but even the main actress, she's she's got red hair, very very colorful red hair. And I'm going to try to ignore her detail as much as possible. It's not going to be that easy, but my first instinct is, to draw her, make a nice figure, but got to fight that instinct as best as possible. Focus on the shape and color. Now I'm just going to fill it with something. Let's see. Well, first, yeah, let me take care of our friend Ryan Gosling here. So he's definitely a cream orange. So I'm just going to drop an orange. And he's mostly this creamy, there it is, yellow orange. Okay, so I'm just going to leave him there. Let's do our friend Emma Stone. She's she's very fun to draw, in my opinion. She has a bit of a, I don't want to say goofy, but she has like a very cartoony face. She's a very curious looking woman. As an artist, you know, her face so fascinating to me. So she's very dark purple, very saturated. There's lots of other bounce lights coming into her too. So I'm just gonna make my best guess right there. All right, so let's look at our friend Ryan Gosling. So he's got some darks in his hair and his ties. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that. Just gonna go really dark. See if I can get his hair. Okay, that's close. His tie is receiving bounce light. It's interesting. So that's too desaturated for his hair. I'm going to find the orange. Where am I? Yeah, it's pretty good right there. Nice. Saturated dark brown. And his face is an orange. So I'm just going to color pick the orange or the red inside and make my best guess at his face. Just make a guess. Okay, that's pretty close. His hands as well. That's pretty close. It's too red and too saturated. There, it's pretty close. Just the overall note of his hair, skin, basically. Let me get the bright part of his jacket now. Well, let me get the shadows of his jacket. Those look really nice. To see if I can find a bit of a softer brush. I have one. So his jacket's receiving some kind of like purple bounce light to it. Yeah, there's lots of colored notes on his jacket, and it does have variation in this little bit of shadow shape that he has. So there's no way I can possibly capture all that. So I'm not even going to try. I just need it because I want to get, okay, that looks pretty good. The value is pretty good. The color is pretty good actually once I put it on there, it starts to read. And then what I need it for is to see the lights because right now this cream is too bright. It's a little too, okay, that's not right either. It's too saturated, I think, and not bright enough. It needs to be closer to the wall actually. Yeah, that's much closer. And then we can turn down the saturation here. Yes, okay. That initial guess that I had looks better. Now that looks better. It needs some work, but we're it's close enough. Let's do her now. I think besides the skin, where is she here? Most important thing is we got to block in her skin, separate it from the. I'm gonna color pick the color I chose for him. Okay, right now as skin, and our skin does vary quite a bit from head to toe and things. So I'm just gonna put in the note there. I just need the color note and a decent shape. I think she's wearing gold shoes. Looks so manly. So right now she's too bright and too orange. We need to bring her back to pink. There you go. There you go. Back to pink. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm kind of looking at her chest, her face, her shoulder, trying to get an average. And that's pretty good. She is quite fair skin. So fair skinned people are quite pinky. And then I'm just going to hit the accent of her hair. The orange hair is a big part of this character, actually. Again, color picking what I had. It looks awful. Okay, that feels pretty good. Obviously, I got to get the little glow on the floor. Where am I? That's going to be tough. I'm going to use a gradient tool. Actually, I'm going to use a marquee. I'm going to use a circular marquee and do something like that. That should get me in the ballpark. All I really want is the note. Doesn't have to be perfect shape or perfect drawing. And what if I drop the opacity? Let's see, it's a lot better. Okay, it's pretty close. The characters have to move as well. But I think I got some of the essence. I'm missing the vignette. Let me quickly do that. So many ways to do a vignette. I think what I'll do is I'll take this, put it to multiply, drop the opacity a bit, just make it darker, and it's quite colorful actually, the vignette. It's like a blue, dark blue vignette. And then I'm gonna take my there you go. There you go. Just kind of mask it out as I go with that vignette. As you can see, it has a bit of a blue hint to it. So maybe if I turn the opacity up and then turn the color towards blue, see what that does. There we go. There we go. It's, a bit insignificant at this stage, but I just want to get it right. But anyway, it's close enough. Bit of an insignificant detail, but I think I got the feeling of this frame. Obviously, the drawing of the characters is terrible, but ignore that. Just look at the color notes and, review the process. I think that's the important thing to note is the process of going through this study and analyzing the colors, making decisions. Okay, we got our next frame here. I'm going to start by filling it with this green. Just take my best guess. Oh, that is very green. So obviously it's a green with a vignette, but it's pretty damn green. When you see a vignette like this, gradation, basically a vignette is a gradation. Look in the halftone zone, right? The bright's in the middle, halftone zone is here, and shadows, darker halftones are on the outside. So I'm looking right about here. So you can see mine. My best guess is that it's too to, actually it's fine for now. What I need is context. I need to see the other colors for it to make full sense. What I'm going to do is, yeah, I'll go ahead and finish the background. So what I'm going to do is make the vignette. So make a dark version of it. Okay, so that looks pretty good, right? The shape needs to be circular or an oval shape, ellipse. But that looks pretty good, right? We're looking at here to here. Mine is, I think, can be darker. Yes. A little bit darker. Yes. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to mask out now the center. Transform the mask. This is just a trying to get the shape decent. Okay, that's it's pretty as close as I can get with that technique. I'm going to use just regular, there it is, that looks pretty good. This regular gradation tool now. Okay, now I'm going to get that interior glow to the light. Okay, that looks pretty good. I just made a guess, desaturated brighter. That's my best guess of this field behind her. So for me to get the full context, I need to see her now. So now I gotta draw this character, Emma Stone here, main actress. I'm going to sketch first. This is how I think. So for me to draw a character with the marquee tool, with the lasso tool, is very strange, very uncomfortable. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? This is weird purple thing. I may just ignore that for this demonstration because that's one more color shape I got to worry about. So this is a great example of a color scheme that you could steal. You know, you can make a character piece, put them in front of this exact, paint your character with its exact colors, and then make make the background this green to make her jacket pop off, or her hair. Orange is a nice near complement to green. I personally love that combination in my opinion. I love to use saturated green with browns, which is orange, or saturated orange with desaturated green. It's a really nice near complement, really pops. Okay, that's my ugly sketch. All right, let's see. All right, so I'm just going to fill this with a shape. Let's make it a little bit less. Okay, so you can see it a little bit. All right, well, she's mostly red, which is the jacket. So I'm just going to drop that in. Obviously, we need to hit some notes. Let's let's get the skin. I'm just going to make a guess at kind of this orangey. Let's make it a bit of a more of a pink flesh tone. She's fair skinned. Fair skinned people tend to be kind of pinky. She's a colorful personality too, this actress, Emma Stone. Is that her name? I think I got it. Emma Watson? Emma Stone? Not too familiar with, I don't watch romance movies to be honest. And I didn't really want to watch it. When this first came out, I was like, there's no way I would watch it. But then someone told me about the beautiful cinematography. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I gotta watch it now. And they were right. Cinematography was excellent. Okay, that's a pretty good guess for a skin tone. That's a pretty good guess. The shirt needs to be blocked in. I'm just going to guess at a blue. Just drop it in there. Obviously, it's not the right blue. There you go. It's a bit of a kind of a gray, dark purple blue. It's pretty dark, actually, a bit more saturation. That blue is tough to gauge. I'm looking at these. There's context that's missing. The other colors around it are affecting how it appears to the eye. So that's just my best guess. And then obviously her hair is next. Her hair is, she's a redhead. She has beautiful hair. So much fun to draw in paint, actually. I've tried to draw her many times. It's a lot of fun, in my opinion. And let's see. So this hair is a pretty good guess. Obviously, there's light and shadow to it. There's gradations to it. I'm just putting down a general hair, general kind of redheady average. Just looking at the average of the hair that's there. Okay, so the red is there it is. Oh, temperature is good. The hue feels pretty good. I'm gonna leave it there. I think that looks pretty good. Let's see, the skin is okay for now. Okay, a little bit darker. Looks nice. Yeah, it looks nice. The jacket can leave that for now. I do need also I do need that paper thing she's holding. I believe yeah, she's reading a script. So she's trying to get into acting. That's the thing about this movie. The story is two people trying to make a break in Hollywood. La La Land is slang for Los Angeles. I'm sure lots of people can relate. That's exactly my story. The whole reason I went to Los Angeles, I wanted to be a star, wanted to work in movies. So I'm gonna do her hair because her hair is a big part of her character. I'm gonna start with the darks. Oh, that looks pretty good. It's a big part of the actress, a big part of the character. It's a big part of this frame. This orange redhead woman in front of a super green thing, delivering her lines or whatever. So it looks pretty good. There's some, I can go a little bit darker, some areas and more saturated. But hue-wise, it's pretty good. Should make it more, no, more red. Nope. And then there's a big saturated chunk of it. So I'm going to color pick it and then go more saturated and towards red. Let's see, it's right here. I'm going to make a new layer. So, okay, it is on a layer. Good. What I like to do is I like to, when I do a color operation, I typically like to make a new layer first. And then that way I can do this. I always get the full control with hue set slider. Mm, okay, that kind of works. It's close. The shape is ugly, and this is definitely not right. It needs to be a bit greener. The highlights on her hair. It's pretty close. It's pretty close. Let me get the rest of her face in. We need some context. So now I'm going to work on the skin, and this is obviously going to be a lot easier. This is something that I'm familiar with. This whole right here. This is this is my comfort zone. And probably if you're watching, you're like me. You like to draw faces and things. She's got blue eyes. It's a big part of this character. I'm just not going to render her, of course. I'm just going to hint at the darks, just under the chin. She has a bit of some shadow going around her eye. Dark blue. Well, not dark blue eyes, but the blue eyes are an important part of this character. I may have to include that. And then let's worry so much about the lips right now. And she obviously got red lips and freckles. So I'm looking at the most important thing, which is the shadow under her chin, making sure that's the right color, temperature, and value. I think right there is a good value, good temperature. It's a good start. Let's get the lights going. Color picker skin. Let's see what this does. That's pretty close. Look at the light on her forehead. It's pretty close. And then same right here. It's pretty close. Actually, the light on her forehead is cool. I made it too cool, too green. That's pretty close right there. That is pretty close. Red lips. Just going to color pick the red I established. Okay, that's pretty close. I color picked the shirt and then I made it a little bit more blue and more saturated. So that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. And she's got lots of freckles, beautiful freckles, and things that are adding color variation to her face. Just quickly get those in. That's an easy one. I got a brush for that. Little dot, dot, dot brush. Let's see, do I have it? Yep, got it here. And just color pick a red. Freckles, drop the opacity big time. That works. Make it it's a little too red, make it more orange. That works. They don't have to be perfect. I'm gonna color pick her hair. And let's see, just get a couple more freckles in there. Put it on a layer, a new layer every time I do this operation. And then drop the opacity big time. Looks nice. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think it's okay. Jacket is probably the last thing I'm going to do. Probably going way over time again. So jacket, there's general gradations in the jacket. The lights at her chest. So let's start with that dark gradation. What I'm going to do is let's try a texture brush to see what that does. I may not like it. So I'm color pick the red that I established. And you don't have to use texture brush at home if you're following along. Okay, that doesn't look right. Let's try this one. It's okay. It makes it look too much. Doesn't look like leather. The material's not reading, but that's okay. Now, color-wise, let's see where we're at here. I think I don't like that. I'm gonna keep it airbrush. Color-wise, let's see where we're at here. Looks pretty good up top, actually. Yeah, that looks pretty good, actually. I need to see the light now, which is in the center, right at her chest. So color pick the color I established, make it a little bit brighter, more pink, less saturated. Let's see where that goes. Let's just see where that goes. It's like right here in the middle. Okay, that's pretty close. This would be the highlight right there, and some highlights on that jacket shape, that lapel. Yeah, that's pretty close. Because the other important thing I need is the darks, because these darks will help me to define the colors more accurately. The darks are part of the color scheme, so color pick what I have. Make it darker, and let's keep it saturated really high. Change my brush a little bit to okay, that's pretty close. I've been making good guesses, getting lucky. Little dark accents. Yeah, even this character is the actress herself is quite. She has a big personality. She's very colorful. I think that's so she was a good casting choice for a colorful movie. Let's see. So it needs to go darker. Oh, that looks nice. Let's play with the edge a little bit. That looks pretty nice. I think as a note, as an overall color note, it's a description of the overall color that I sense, that I see in that area. I think it works. Just kind of putting little notes of shadow and halftone on the jacket. Obviously still needs a lot of work. The color is not quite what I want, but it's pretty close. It's some gorgeous photography, though. I mean, one of the reasons why I started this episode, this live stream series, is I want to have an excuse to look at some of the old cinematography that I love. This is definitely one of them. And hopefully encourage you watching at home to try this yourself. If you are learning color, this is one of the best ways to get color quickly. And let me, while I'm here, I think I'm pretty happy with that jacket. It's not perfect. Um, while I'm here, I'm going to do the notes in the shirt and then probably be a good stopping point there. Because there's some light notes in the shirt. I want to get those, make sure they're there. And you could see when I put these notes that the fabric needs to go a lot darker. It's easier to see. That's why I wanted to do this before I move forward here. That can be dropped opacity wise. Nice. So the fabric itself needs to go a lot darker. Well, it turns out that I put that merged the layer already. So I'm gonna have to just put in the lights manually. It's okay. I don't have to be perfect here. I just want to get a couple notes of that. Make sure it reads correctly. It's pretty close. This what I'm doing now is a little too bright. Just make it darker. And okay, a little more saturated. And then finally, bring the darkness back in shirt there. There it is. That's there it is. Once it's there and other colors are around it, that kind of makes sense. That kind of work together. Now it's starting to, oh, it makes sense. Okay, so that's as far as I can go with that shirt. It's not perfect, but it does the job.